Yeah.
I mean, he's like a billionaire playboy who, creates the Tesla cars and rocket ships.
The cars that
and
drive
shit.
themselves.
Oh, I was gonna say, how am I supposed to just know this random person?
Because he's insanely famous because he's smart and rich and, changing technology and all kinds of other stuff. He wants to, send a spaceship to Mars.
Yeah.
And again, how is this, where would I know this information?
You haven't heard Tesla, SpaceX?
The car?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's Elon Musk, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I drive real cars.
The real ones?
Yeah, I drive Maybachs.
Oh. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. We hope that you had a good evening. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we're going to talk about the Thunder's recap and comeback over the Utah Jazz. But before we get into last night's game, I'm joined here by Complex Sports Editor, Mr. Adam Caparel. Cap, how you feeling, brother?
Feeling good. Thank you to the Thunder for comeback because you guys saved me some money, so appreciate that.
Of course. Slow clap on you getting some money.
Welcome.
And
You're welcome.
The future is still alive, so let's keep it rolling.
And next to Adam Caparel is Mr. Gilbert Arenas. Came through with the blazer on. I see you out here shining.
I got court after this.
You got court?
I got court. Got some priors.
That's your public defender look? Okay, I'm with it. Of course, we got to talk about last night's playoff matchups, the Wednesday games that incorporated a variety of matchups that could see the series in, like the Oklahoma City Thunder and Utah Jazz. But the first game was the Wizards and Raptors. The Raptors beat the Wizards 108-98 to take a 3-2 series lead as they'll head back to Washington to wrap up the series. DeMar DeRozan scored 32 points. Kyle Lowry dropped 17 and 10 assists. John Wall had 26, 9, and 9 as he continues his beef with Drake. And Bill scored 20. Gil, you predicted the Wizards would win tonight. They didn't. What do you think went wrong? You don't know?
No, I know. Mr. Wright is killing me.
What do you mean by that?
Mr. Wright. D. Wright.
Oh, DeLon Wright.
Yes.
Darrell's little brother.
Yes.
Yeah, DeLon Wright's coming off the bench.
He is actually the X factor in this series.
Because of his defensive energy?
Believe it or not. The guards are canceling each other out.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 and 4 on both teams are non-existent. I don't even know why they're even on the court at this point. But every time Mr. Wright.
Yeah. DeLon's made some impressive plays. He's blocked John Wall a couple times in transition. He's made some impressive plays.
They win when he hits double digits. All 3 win, 18, 11, and 18. Like, no one's coming off the bench contributing on the Wizards. Yeah. Like he is on a Raptors.
So probably that's probably the reason the Toronto Raptors decided to let Corey Joseph walk this offseason. No, walk, but traded him to the Indiana Pacers to let him go on right.
I mean, he is. When I look at series and I look at matchups, the 2 guards, they're canceling each other out. They really are, and so there has to be someone out there, Oubre or someone that actually takes the extra step. In this series, Toronto is driving off of Wright.
Cap, what do you think went wrong for the Washington Wizards in this not decisive, but Game 5? What do you think?
I mean, some execution down the stretch, especially since, we were still flirting with that cover at 7.5, and then it got ballooned to 10, which is so very disappointing results in the end for your Wizards. You were heavy with them, and you said you were loving them.
I know. I was there.
But listen, we know this is the same deal like the Bucks and Celtics series. Like this, the Raptors Wizards we know is going to go to a Game 7. They're going to go back to Washington. Washington's going to kick the Raptors' ass. We're going to have a decisive Game 7 in Toronto, and the Wizards are probably going to lose Game 7, and the Raptors are going to the second round. So it's like we've seen this narrative, we've seen this story a million. What are you poo-pooing that theory over?
We talk about the Washington Wizards being a front-running team a lot of times, so we'll see how they rebound in Game 6.
So you think it's going to be taken care of in Game 6?
No, it's going to go to Game 7.
And you think the Wizards are still winning?
Game 7, yes.
Okay, they played like garbage in Toronto, 3 games. Well, I shouldn't say garbage, but
Toronto's played like garbage for 2 games, which is going to be the 3rd.
So that means the Wizards are going to lose Game 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game 7's 50-50 game.
We'll really? Uh-huh. In that college atmosphere?
Yeah, 50-50.
Okay.
Another Game 5 that was interesting and could have very well been the most entertaining game of the night, but there's another game that was, giving it a run for his money. LeBron James showed why he's still the best player in the league. He had a game-winning shot after blocking Victor Oladipo at the rim. The Cleveland Cavaliers won 98-95, taking a 3-2 series lead. Victor Oladipo only had 12 points and, again, got blocked in the final seconds by LeBron James before LeBron hit his game-winning 3-point shot. Victor Oladipo was 2 for 15 from the field. Kyle Korver had 19 points, 5 of 9 from 3. Kevin Love,
I don't even know why you
You don't want to talk about the role players?
I don't even know why you're talking about those stats. What did I say?
You mentioned that LeBron. There's no water.
You did.
There's no water in here.
All right,
I'm going to sip this cup.
All right, real talk.
Points.
You said on the show the other day that LeBron would get 40, the Cavs would win. You also said the Wizards were going to win outright and cover. So, half and half here, pal.
1 for 1 right now.
Yeah, 1 for 1. Yeah,
1 for 1 right now.
Yeah, you know what?
But like I told you,
splitting loses your money when you're gambling.
But like I told you, if LeBron gets aggressive, ain't nothing stopping it.
He mentioned LeBron being aggressive, and you did say LeBron would score 40 points. LeBron in
or a triple-double, and he almost hit it.
He almost hit it. LeBron had 44, 10, and 8.
Kevin Love hit a few more shots. He would have had that triple-double.
Easily. 44, 10, and 8 for LeBron James. And like I mentioned before, the game-winning 3, that was very reminiscent of the 3-point shot he hit against the Orlando Magic back in 2009 during Game 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, he did get beat off the dribble by Oladipo.
Maybe he wanted to let him. He had more
I don't know.
space.
Maybe that's the strategy. But, like, the phenomenal recovery for the chase-down block that you guys think was a goaltending.
I definitely think it was a goaltending. It touched the backboard first.
Yeah,
but
so
it's hard.
Still a phenomenal play.
It's hard to
make that call because it's the bottom. It's the bottom ref that has that
look. He's been blocked.
Well, he's underneath the basket.
Because he's underneath the basket, and the outside ref can't see that it was spent. So because it wasn't moving towards the rim, it didn't look like.
It didn't look like he went anywhere.
It didn't look like it went anywhere because he hit the English on it.
Yeah.
So the English hits here first, and it didn't hit.
More impressive block, that or what he did against Iguodala.
Oh, Iguodala.
Both was goaltenders.
I don't know, but like he was beat off the dribble, and to recover that quickly and make that defender block.
The Iguodala one was a lot.
But also
better.
Iguodala had like a busted back. So.
But also the stakes of that moment.
It was both over the rim, like heads over. The rim.
And also the thing about the
here.
Iguodala block, he came from like half court to catch Iggy and to block that. And this NBA Finals is Game 7, so I got to take that one over.
All right, fun.
Yeah, come on. This is the first
Devil's
round.
advocate over here. Come on.
NBA Finals. This guy might be a prisoner of the moment. A series that wrapped up in H-Town was the Houston Rockets taking care of business against the Minnesota Timberwolves, wrapping up that series 4-1. The Houston Rockets ended things off with 122-104 victory. Jimmy Butler only had 8 points and was seen icing up his right knee, the same knee that he had meniscus surgery on. James Harden finished with 24 points, CP3 12 points. The entire Houston starting 5 was in double digits, and Clint Capella led all scorers for the Houston Rockets. He was catching a variety of lobs from James Harden. Now that the Rockets finished up that series, what do we think of their performance against the 8th seed?
They took care of business.
They took care of business. I wasn't impressed.
You weren't impressed at all?
I mean, for a team that dominated the NBA last year offensively.
Okay, so
what did you do here that showed dominance?
So if you weren't impressed,
he's right though, because again, the Wolves came into this matchup. They got torched every single time they faced the Rockets during the regular season. And the Rockets, they went off for 50 points in the third quarter in Game 4. But other than that, I mean, the second half of this, of Game 5, they were cooking a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, he's right. Like, they didn't do anything that kind of really stood out in the 5-game series.
You have not, with this team. If you take away the 50 points, you take away the last 4 or 5 minutes where experience kicks in, this team was playing you head-to-head in every game.
Yeah.
And Towns was playing like garbage. Jimmy didn't have great games.
I mean, that's what I said. It's like, you remember last year or the year before, you've seen the teams that was more dominant. Yeah. They're just sweeping the shit out of everybody. Yeah. You're supposed to be a dominant team. There's no way this team should have been playing in the same league.
So we expected the Minnesota Timberwolves to make a leap this year with the addition of Jimmy Butler, Karl-Anthony Towns, another year under his belt, Andrew Wiggins the same, and Jeff Teague coming to the fold. Do you think this year might have been wrong for us in our expectations of them taking a leap? Do you think they take a leap next year, or you think they're just going to be the same old Timberwolves?
The fuck are you talking about?
To take a leap.
They took a leap. What are you talking about? They went to the playoffs.
They went to the playoffs.
They went to the playoffs.
They only scored one game. I mean, they only won one game.
When was the last time they won a game?
No, they took a massive jump. Remember?
2004?
They took a massive jump.
2004 was the last time they won a playoff game.
Yeah.
They took a great jump.
So you're saying they took a jump.
If I'm them, I'm actually happy with this season.
Okay.
You took the number 1 team. You took them. You played very well. Being 22-year-olds, 23, you played very well against a player that's the MVP, won 60-something games. They did well.
They did well. Okay.
This team improved their win total by, I think, 17 or 18 wins from the season before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the season is not a complete, waste in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they got themselves to the playoffs. They ended that awful drought. Yeah, I mean, they played the Rockets, well. Maybe could have stolen one more game here and there, if a few plays played out differently. But, they're a work in progress. But, all praise for them for getting this far.
They should enjoy their summer. They can walk. They can walk in the summer with their heads high.
Okay. I mean, Towns has some improvement to do. Wiggins definitely has some improvement to do. Jimmy needs to get healthy, but that's a pretty good season for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, we'll see how they bounce back next season. We'll see how they bounce back next season. I mentioned earlier that the Cleveland Cavaliers game against the Indiana Pacers and LeBron's game-winning three-pointer might have been the best game of the night, but the Oklahoma City Thunder had something to say about that as they came back from a 25-point deficit to beat the Utah Jazz and stave off elimination. The final score ended up being 107-99 as Oklahoma City Thunder got a victory at home in Game 5. Russell Westbrook went off in the second half. He ended up with 45 points on 39 shots, and Paul George ended up with 34 points on 26 shots, together 79 points. If you want to add Melo's total in there, I'm not pretty good at math, but it's not great. Melo ended up with 7 points. But OKC lives to see another game as things head back to Utah. What do we make of the Thunder's comeback victory?
No. Ask the question that was originally written.
What should the Thunder do now?
Yeah. What? Say it again?
What should the Thunder do now?
Yeah, because you thought they were going to lose. Don't bandwagon jump now, goddammit. No. Don't jump on the bandwagon now. You already thought they was going to lose because they was down 25.
They were down 25. It was.
And, when I was watching the game earlier, and I'm looking at Russell's shots.
Yeah.
He did try to prove a point game 3 and 4 by only taking one shot in the fourth quarter. Because the way he came out, like, no matter if you're making or missing your shots, he was so aggressive that at some point it was going to turn around, and it actually did.
Mm-hmm. But did it turn around? When you take 39 shots, I mean, he wasn't that efficient from the field.
Okay, when you talk about
he caught
efficient,
fire for a little while.
When you talk about efficient, you're talking about, this is what they say, shooters keep shooting. He started off, 4 for 23.
Okay.
And from there caught fire.
Yeah.
In the middle of the third quarter, but that's
like a
what
totally different person in the second half.
Yes, but that's what a basketball player is. You can't ever give up on being aggressive. But
is it not disheartening for your two best players to score 79 points and you still only win by 8? Granted, you
you had other players on their team like Chowder who had an amazing game.
For Utah,
yes. My thing right now is Melo. I'm confused because you're 2 for 6. You shot that in the first quarter.
7 points.
So from the rest of the game, you were just being a professional of exercise?
No, he was on the bench pretty much during the comeback.
Yeah.
You was a professional exerciser.
There you
go. You was going to be an exerciser there. You're going to get your cardio on. Because there's no fucking, there's no way the Melo I know would not have taken a shot.
Maybe he's battling injuries that we don't know about, like Russ alluded to.
There's no such thing as a battle and injury of me getting a shot up.
Yeah, that's a big point.
I mean, Kobe shot the motherfuckers with his left hand if he had to. He's going to get
Kobe shot a free throw without an Achilles.
He's going to get his shots up. So I don't know what's going on there, but it looked like he was hoping this game was the last game of this so he can go on about his way. Yeah. And that's kind of bad.
Do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder can replicate this performance 2 times and hopefully move on to the next round?
I mean, you got 2 players that's super ultra aggressive.
And Paul George and Russell Westbrook?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those 2 can carry the team, and that's what they're going to, if Melo helps, but I think at this point they're just gonna go on without him.
Cap, what do you think?
I wonder if you expended too much energy for this comeback and how that affects you going back to Utah. Again, it's not Denver with altitude, but still like the increased elevation does affect guys.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I've seen people have said that Utah.
Usually if you're down 25 in a game, it hurts you from like going over the top to win that game. Game 6 is a whole nother game. I mean, Game 6 is a whole nother game. Westbrook is going to come out.
I could very well be wrong, but I think OKC is done. I think this is the best shot that they had. They won the game. This was their best effort. But I think moving forward, I think Utah wraps it up in Game 6. I think it's a wrap. I'm ready to do. In any other game,
it's kind of look. Listen.
In any other game,
listen.
I
know you got an amazing haircut. I really do.
Thanks,
but don't come out here throwing dart on.
I'm just saying. Don't
do that. Don't do that with the schoolboy hair. Don't do that.
In any other game, OKC has not necessarily performed like they did in the second.
Because but you got to think about it. Game 3 and 4, Game 2, 3, and 4, Russell has not played this aggressive.
No, not in the fourth quarter.
Not in the fourth quarter. The last 3 games, he's averaged 1.1 shot in the fourth quarter.
I know, but the Thunder offense, aside from Russ catching fire, has been a disaster in this series.
Okay, but again,
And
Mr. Triple Double, the most aggressive dude probably in the NBA, takes one shot in the last 3 games of a fourth quarter.
And also, but why can't the Oklahoma City Thunder guard the three-point line? We saw Ricky Rubio have a lot of success early in the series. Jay Crowder scored 15 points in the game.
To be honest, that might be their game plan.
They just let them shoot three.
The game plan is because if you let Rubio come off screens and his vision is so great when he's going to hit those slashers. So with that being said, you probably want to protect the paint because you do have Melo at the small forward or the power forward.
Yeah.
You have, Melo at the power forward who's not athletic anymore. So you really want to control, that the inside, and you would rather have them shoot threes.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right.
But if Russell's going to shoot 40 shots in the fourth quarter, let's go OKC. They're not. It's going to be hard to beat them.
Well, yeah, if he catches fire, it's going to be really hard to beat them. But
Let's be honest. If he shoots one shot, yeah, I don't. They're going to lose.
I would agree, yeah. All right, we have to talk about the Cavs and Pacers a little bit more with a guy that knows something about playing with LeBron and a lot about the Pacers, and that is former NBA vet and current commentator, and the guy that you can hear on the Planet Pollard podcast. We'll have Scott Pollard joining us here on Out of Bounds on Face to Face. All right, Scott, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it, my man. But I guess first off, we saw some greatness out of LeBron tonight. That was a phenomenal shot that he hit. But do you give more credit to LeBron and the Cavs, or is this a case of the Pacers kind of blowing a beautiful chance to take a lead in critical Game 5?
I think the Pacers have really dropped the ball in this whole series. They're not keeping their they're not keeping their foot on the throat of the Cavaliers as they could. The Cavaliers are looking like a team that's looking for excuses to lose. LeBron's the only one with playing any passion consistently. His other teammates are not carrying any kind of load. He's trying to get them involved. He's still averaging almost a triple-double in this series. But this is the Pacers series to win or lose, and they're losing it. And it's because of their uninspired play. Even in the last game, they didn't play very well until the fourth quarter, got lucky, came back. Not that they got lucky, but they came back and were lucky enough to win that game. And then this game, they started out hot and then they fizzled. And, that goaltend at the end of the game, who cares? It's one play. And if they had played decent in the third quarter and made free throws and somebody hit a three-pointer for the Pacers, that goaltend doesn't even matter. It's inconsequential completely. So I think that the Pacers lost this game, and obviously LeBron took care of 2 plays at the end of the game to seal the win.
Scott, what do you make of Victor Oladipo's struggles throughout this series? I believe in Game 4 he was 5 for 20. In this game he was 2 for 15. Do you think it's just the matchups, or what do you make of his struggles?
I don't know what it is, because this is the opposite of Victor Oladipo all season long. He's been the aggressor. He's a guy that figures out how to get shots up. If people double team him, he splits the double team, gets his teammates involved, or goes to the basket, and then he gets his shots off because of that, because of his threat to penetrate even when he's being double teamed. Now he's settling, and he's not penetrating the double team, and he's quick enough to do this. So it is confusing. I don't know why Victor is settling for the game to come to him, and it's not coming to him. And so. Yep. That's a nice way of saying he's not a superstar, and he's not. He's an all-star, but he's not there yet. You're right. I agree with you. No, but they do play inspired basketball. They've been proving me wrong all year. At the beginning of this year, I thought they were going to win 25 games. and even their front office. The general manager Kevin Pritchard was quoted recently of saying that they exceeded even their front office's expectations. And this team has proven me wrong time and again. I thought there's no way they're going to make the playoffs. There's no way they're going to win over 30 games, and they're doing all those things. So they're playing inspired basketball. But you hit the nail on the head. Their best player isn't ready to take them to a deep playoff run. And when you're not used to being the superstar, not used to being the man, and the spotlight is on you, as it is on Victor Oladipo right now, well, that's what you see when you're not ready. You see players like that can't perform consistently in a playoff situation. And so they're overachieving to even be here. The Cavs are more talented. The Cavs have got players that have been here before, obviously. And as much as you would never think that LeBron could win a series all by himself, he's doing it.
So let's talk about that. Is this the most garbage supporting cast LeBron has had pretty much since he's been back with the Cavs? And I mean, there's been comparisons of the team he took all the way to the finals, years and years ago.
Easy. I was on that team. I was on that. No, 06, 07.
Compare that cast to the cast that he has today. I mean, are there big differences, or essentially, are we looking at, again, one of the weaker supporting casts that LeBron has had to carry during the postseason in his career?
Well, I think we were a little more balanced. He wasn't scoring 40 points a game to get us to the NBA Finals. He was having big games, but I think he had a little bit more balanced offense around him. Certainly not talent. That we didn't have a Kevin Love, but we had Big Zydrunas Ilgauskas in the post that he could play off of. He had Drew Gooden, the double machine, and Anderson Varejao, who was also a double guy when things went his way. So we had a lot more big guys that could give you consistent scoring on the inside. That LeBron didn't have to go in and take all of that inside scoring and all of the 3-point scoring as well, like he's doing right now. But I mean, obviously, I'm going to be a little biased towards my team. I don't think we were as bad as this team because there was more balanced scoring. Tonight, he had 2 other guys in double figures.
You mentioned that. So I saw a stat earlier today. There was a 98% match of just stats and efficiency and everything that this Cavaliers team resembles the 2006-2007 Washington Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
Gil has a crazy, not crazy, but he thinks that the Cavaliers should be the favorites to win it all if the Warriors are not in the finals. So say hypothetically we get a Houston, Cleveland NBA Finals. He thinks Cleveland's taking that. What do you think of that?
Houston, Cleveland? No. You make a good point. And so I guess if I have to say it, we're assuming that Cleveland's going to get past the next round. So if they're there in the finals, you make a good point. I can't argue against that because I think that Harden's game is very one-dimensional, like you said. But I don't see Cleveland getting – I mean, I'm surprised they're even this far against the Pacers. I really am. They have zero experience, but they have way more talent. I don't think so. I think Toronto beats them. I think Toronto comes out of the East. I know, because they've never been in the playoffs before. As a city, as a culture, they're like, hey, we're in the playoffs, yay! They get excited about it every year, like, yay, we're in the playoffs. Okay, so I think this is Toronto's year. I think it's gonna be Toronto-Houston in the finals. What if it's Toronto-Houston in the finals? Then who wins? Okay, that's my hot take for the night. All right, see you guys.
Team has won the game in this series so far. The Celtics have a 3-2 series lead after winning Game 5 in Boston. You mentioned that Giannis Antetokounmpo has to go off in this game.
Yes.
Do you? I mean, obviously, aside from having to keep their season,
this is an elimination game, so you have to bring it. Like, if you are a superstar, you're trying to be a superstar, you have to will. Your game on this game.
Game 5, he only took 10 shots on scored 60
He
points.
can't do that in a final game. Yeah. You have to go out blaze of glory, and that's the only way you're going to do it. Yeah. And with this team, it's their guard play. Bledsoe and their shooting guard. I don't even know his name at this point.
Brogdon or Snell. He said sure. He said sure.
Like, you can't have 2 and 0 points at the shooting guard.
Are you talking about Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker?
No, they're threes. They're fine.
Yeah.
They're shooting guards. Like, you got 2 and 0 points. Like, you're a shooting guard. You're supposed to shoot the ball. like for them to win this game in this series, those 2 guards, Bledsoe and what was his name?
Bledsoe.
They need to at least score 30 to 40 points combined.
Those two guys.
Those two guys combined.
He said sure.
Those 2 guys combined need to score 30 to 40 points combined to win this series.
But you mentioned Giannis and having to take that next step. Games 1 and 2, he scored 35 points and 30. Is it just being new to the stage of the playoffs and lacking the aggression? What is it?
That's what I said. It's playoffs is different. Mm-hmm. Okay. My first playoff series, we're playing the Bulls first round. I averaged 37 in the regular season against them. Mm-hmm. First couple games, I'm trying to do the same exact thing, and it's not working. Like, I'm struggling. We're down 0-2. Scottie Pippen tells our trainer, won't he just be the decoy? This is not his series. They're trapping him anytime he spins, go to the hole. They're looking for him. He needs to pass the ball. Yeah. And I had to think about it. Okay, well, if Pippen says it's not my series, I became a decoy.
Yeah.
Wait, did Pippen get in your head?
No. We won 4 straight.
Oh, okay.
We won 4 straight because I was forcing the issue because it was like, I'm playing against these guys again. I done torched these guys. And the same thing with Giannis, that he needs to understand that if you have an advantage, you better take it and take it now because the next series might not be there. Yeah. It might not be there. So you have to will your team to the victory if you have that chance. If not, you have to be a decoy. In this series, you don't have to be a decoy. Yeah. You have to pound them and pound them and pound them.
And he had a lot of success in the regular season against the Celtics. The only team he scored more points against in the regular season was the Cavaliers. He averaged 33.5 against the Celtics, 34.5 against the Cavs. So it's like he has been able to score at will, at least during the regular season, against the Celtics. So it's like, you're only taking 10 shots in the other game, in the previous game, Game 4, is ridiculous.
I don't know if he was trying to get a triple-double, trying to be a great teammate. A great teammate is taking advantage of your matchup. If you're not taking advantage of your matchup at this point, you're doing your team a disjustice.
And I said Game 4, I meant Game 5.
Yeah.
But
But by the time we come back with a new episode of Out of Bounds, some of these series could be wrapped up. So I'm going to go some rapid fire around the horn here to see who you guys are picking in the series. Do you think the Cavaliers wrap things up in Game 6? Or do you think the Pacers will force a Game 7 and ultimately win the series? Cap, I'll start with
I'm going to say Game 7 because, again, essentially, this series, the home team hasn't always held home court. Yeah. But I think the Pacers rally, and again, I'm more so rooting for LeBron to be taken to the brink and see him rise to the occasion.
You just want chaos.
I do, yeah.
You picking Cavs or Pacers?
Blowout.
Cavs, Game 6.
Game 6. Cavs going to blow them out.
Okay.
Blowout.
Yeah.
Every
game
that
6.
Seems aggressive.
Every Game 6, Cavs blowing out the Pacers.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that stat.
Do you? Okay.
So is LeBron Mr.
Even when Paul George is there.
Ooh.
Blowout.
So is LeBron Mr. Game 6?
I see what you're doing.
Speaking of Game 6, do you think the Toronto Raptors will blow out the Washington Wizards, or the Wizards will send things back to T-Dot? See what I did there?
They're sending it back to Drake.
They're sending it back to Drake?
Yeah, they're sending it back to Drake.
And will they win Game 7?
Yes.
So you're picking the Wizards?
There will be a Game 7, and the Wizards will get their doors blown off.
Okay.
Game 7. Toronto advancing to the semifinals.
Nice. Thunder, Jazz. Do you think, I have my pick, you gave me grief for my pick. Do you think the Thunder force a Game 7?
Thunder, man.
So you're picking the Thunder at all in the series. Okay.
I am going to be rooting like crazy for the Thunder because I need my future on the series to cash in desperately right now. But I think that, again, I said it earlier, all the energy used to get back in this game, going to Jazz, essentially the Thunder have been a complete disaster on offense.
Yeah.
I don't think they're just going to flip the switch and change it.
I completely agree.
You have a question?
Yeah.
You have a statement?
When was the last time we've seen Westbrook lack of energy?
Games.
It's like he has Red Bull IV.
But haven't we talked about how he looks beat up this series?
It's called Game 4 and Game 3 of the series.
No, we just thought that because he wasn't shooting in the fourth quarter. But we seen tonight.
That's right. He was playing a little rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
Prove a point.
Talk about the circus because the LiAngelo LaMelo Lithuania experiment is over. The Ball family is coming home. So, Lithuanian basketball journalist Donatas Urbonas, I believe I spelled or pronounced it correctly, I think, reported on Wednesday that LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball are headed back to California. In a tweet, Urbonas quoted LeVar Ball as saying, quote, "We're not going to waste our time no more," unquote. LeVar reportedly had a dispute with the Lithuanian coach that was the coach of LaMelo and LiAngelo. Basically over LaMelo's playing time, and LiAngelo's been nursing an injury as he gets ready for the NBA draft. In Lithuania, LiAngelo averaged 12.6 points in 22 minutes per game, and LaMelo, probably the more gifted and more talented of the two brothers, averaged 6.5 points in only 12 minutes of action. LiAngelo, again, sidelined with the injury. He's entering the NBA draft egregiously. LaMelo still has his options, I guess, available. We'll see what kind of unfolds. But LeVar told the journalist in Lithuania that LaMelo would not return next season. He said, quote, "You really asked me this? Coach ruined everything, and he'll have to pay the price that Melo is not coming back." The Lithuanian coach, I'm having an attempt to pronounce his name. I'm going to pull a U, Pierce, right there and just move on.
No, your
he said, quote, "It's just another proof they came here to make a show, not for basketball. It's sad they didn't understand what we gave them. We understood how they helped us, but they don't." Yeah. Essentially, yeah. So it's like, so the question I have for you guys, that's it. Yeah. What did we learn, or were there any lessons to be taken from this charade of the Balls taking their talents to Lithuania for 4 months?
I think that's the perfect word to choose.
Charade.
It's a complete charade.
Did they actually get anything out of this?
I think the youngest, I think Melo, I can't say that him playing his junior year in high school versus this hurt his growth. I think playing against pros, learning, not being coached by his dad, probably taught him something.
But do you think it doesn't hurt his longevity because now he's ineligible to go to any D1 college?
I don't think he was planning on going to D1 anyway.
Right.
But I think he probably got more skill work here than going back to high school, chucking up shots again.
Yeah, but only playing 6.5 minutes per game, even against adults?
This should show, playing against adults, not kids.
But can't you do it on the weekend out here in the States?
But, they had their big baller games, and we see the 50
Yeah, but
60.
you call those big baller games a charade.
Yeah, but you get to see it. You get to see it now because now the real stats are coming out that the LiAngelo averaged 12 in a mediocre league. The youngest son averaged 6.
Yeah.
So these 70s and 55, 80 points we always heard about, we actually really realized that they were just full of shit.
So is the only logical move for these two guys is to go into this mythological big baller brand league that's coming up shortly?
I think LaMelo is gonna be the face of the JBA. Was it? The JBA?
I forget what it's officially called.
The JBA. I think he's gonna be the face of the JBA. He'll probably be on one of the worst teams out there, so he can basically get back his junior year, average 45, 55 against mediocre high school kids that he's obviously better than.
Yeah.
Jello, I mean, I don't want to be negative here.
He's not going to get drafted.
But if you came out of this league averaging 25, 30, I would say, you know what, you probably have a legitimate shot. But the fact that you average 12, and this is not UCLA. This is not college basketball.
Not at all.
This is right above high school. Yeah. This is below JUCO, and you average 12. I don't see who actually considers drafting you. I really don't. Like, you average 12 in a bottom league.
No, it makes sense. It makes
division.
Sense.
Like, you don't. I don't see where the fan base. I don't see it as a general manager. I'm gonna say, you know what? I want to put him on. I'm not going to waste a spot there. Like, maybe get him on the G League, but.
But again, all right? So if he's maybe a borderline G League player at best,
you're not going to go from averaging 12 to be a decent G League player.
All right, so a fringe.
You're not going to go from averaging 12 in this league to be a decent G League. So let's be honest with that.
So we'll call him a fringe G League player right now. Is he better served to go over to Europe or some other foreign league and get better and play as much there, and then try to go back into the G League and then matriculate your way to the league?
To be honest, it's one of those things as a player, you have to be truthful to yourself.
Right.
And the truth is, he's an undersized 3'4". So it tells me the way his game is that he was probably the biggest one on his AAU team growing up, and he just stopped growing. So with that being said, as a player that's undersized 3'4", I need to learn how to be a point guard or an actual shooting guard. Not some strong guy, small forward that he tries to play. Because that's not going to work in the G League or college basketball. It wouldn't work. So he should be using the next 1 or 2 years to develop, to really learn how to be a guard. Because he's on the back nine of learning how to play guard. His two brothers, the youngest one and the oldest one, Lonzo, they played point guard their whole life.
Yeah.
And he's technically now the smallest of the three. The youngest one is actually taller. Yeah. So you're the smallest guy playing a 3-4 position where you need to really learn how to be a 2 or a 1. And that's what he needs to understand. And if he wants to make it to the NBA at some point in his career, he needs to really use the summers and probably overseas to learn how to be a shooting guard or a point.
Should play football like his daddy. That's it. That's
not too late. I mean, you're still.
Like, I was trying to go the whole time without badgering him.
I'm just saying. He got a good listen.
He does, but
play football.
If you didn't play football your whole career, you're not gonna just pick the shit. Same thing as if you didn't play point guard your whole career. And at 6'5", I'm just saying, if someone takes him on the G League, they got paid to do it.
6'5", you see how stocky he is. Hey, so put your hand in the ground.
He needs to lose weight, and he needs to lose weight because he's a natural thick kid, and really learn how to be a point.
I think that ship has sailed.
I mean, at 20, it's hard to learn how to be a point, but it's not that hard.
We need an age theory from Gilbert Arenas because he bring the age into it every time.
Always, yes.
That's the most important thing. It's the age.
Age is a number for you.
If he was 18, this guy at 18, I'll say, he has a chance. At 20,
getting dicey.
Yeah. That's Ingram. 2 years in the NBA.
He ain't close to him, that's for sure.
No, we know that.
Tatum is 19. Yeah.
All right. Well, glad you brought up football because after the combine, the pro days, the team interviews, and a million worthless mock drafts, the NFL draft mercifully has arrived. First round is later tonight, but that got us thinking all the overanalyzing and all the overreacting and all the overthinking for NFL teams. Is it really worth it? Time to judge if that's fair or foul. All right, so round one of the NFL draft is tonight, Friday. Round two, weekend, we see rounds 4 through 7. But again, alluding to the issues and the overthinking, the overanalyzing of these teams, we're talking about the top prospects. And we've seen these issues pop up, and people talk about things that could be red flags for these guys, like Josh Rosen with his, maybe suspect personality, devotion to football, and is he really committed to being the best player possible? We talked about Jim Mora's coach essentially roasting him a little bit in comparison to Sam Darnold. There's Wyoming QB Josh Allen. There's issues about his competition, his accuracy. We have Louisville QB Lamar Jackson. We talked about how maybe he's not getting a fair shake, and how he was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, but he's being compared differently. Maybe talking about having a position change.
Exactly. Which
egregiously.
Is outlandish.
There's Baker Mayfield, personality issues, off the field stuff, and also height issues. And there's Saquon Barkley, who may be the best player in the NFL draft, the most talented, most athletic, but is it worth it to take him with the number 1 overall pick, for a position running back that has a short shelf life and isn't valued the same way it used to be in years past? So we can dissect these guys a million different ways. These teams are going to be doing it up until it's time to draft these guys. But, fair or foul for how players are now endlessly, ridiculously, egregiously overanalyze, and these teams overthink these selections year in and year out. It seems like it gets worse and worse and worse every single year.
I'm calling foul because it's just too much information at this point. A lot of times, none of this translates to the field, whether or not the guy can play or not. Some questions that they ask these guys at the combine, like we've seen before, are just absurd. Like, thinking back to the time they asked Des Bryant if his mother was a prostitute. Like, come on. Everything is foul. I think the entire draft process has really just gotten out of hand, so I'm going to call foul on that one.
In football, do they actually test heart and the willingness to get better as a player? See, if you want to measure actual talent, you try to find out if this guy is willing. Does he have the
hunger and
the hunger to be the best ever? That's how you draft.
Yeah.
So if you're taking a draft and you see, in basketball, a player like Westbrook, raw talent. Somebody like Curry, short, not athletic, but they're in a gym like some sickos, trying to get better, trying to develop their skill level. That's what you look for.
Yeah.
Running
a 40 ain't
running a 40 in 2 seconds. You can be fucking Flash. If you can't catch the ball, what the fuck? What does all that matter?
Fair point.
I don't understand what they look for in football players, because it doesn't translate to actual gamers.
It's a complete crapshoot.
Like lifting 1,000 pounds. Congratulations. I'm pretty sure that helps at some point on the field.
Okay, I get that. But how are you going to measure heart in these guys? How are you going to measure commitment? How are you going to measure hunger?
Sit down. You can sit and film. You can sit and film. You can ask a coach, hey, how long does he stay after?
Yeah.
How long? You can ask these questions to see, is this person getting better? Is he trying to get better? Is he just satisfied with who he is now? That you can see that. You can look. We can sit and watch a game. I can ask you questions and pick your brain. Not ask you, is your mother a slut? What the fuck does that got to do with, can you throw the ball? Are you willing to sit after practice 2 hours to work on your arm? This, and this. What are you looking at? Why did you drop back this way? And test what you think.
But do you think you arrive at that feeling because you were a player that had that drive, that had that focus, that would just work religiously all the time? So you can spot that in other players. Yeah. Do you think general managers lack that?
I think they lack it because they've never played. Mm-hmm. If you're a general manager and you've never played, you've never competed to know what real hard is versus he's just talented, but he's lazy.
But what about guys that played high school ball? Doesn't count?
No.
His the look on his face.
No, high school you don't have nothing at that point. Everything is still raw.
You don't value guys that went through the scouting departments of these organizations and rose up to get to a level?
Some people are great. Look, some people are great scouts. Some people aren't. Mm-hmm. You can see a guy, that's very talented, mm-hmm. but he has no work ethic.
Right.
I call them jack me off players. They're the ones that get you fired because you believe in them so much. Yeah. Then there's players that you can't see them getting better because you're not looking at it. You're not looking at, oh my God, he has the drive.
Yeah. He
wants to be the best in the NBA. If a player wants to be the best, they're going to work their ass off.
Right.
Like somebody like Tim Tebow. I'm like, why Tim Tebow wasn't on a team? Mm-hmm. Like, he was a great fourth quarter player. He was a great big time player. and it looked like he wanted to be the best.
Yeah, but Tim couldn't throw
There's other
accurately.
times-
I know,
to that.
but he couldn't throw accurately then, but he made plays when it counted. Fourth quarter player.
Yeah, but you have to be in the game around the fourth.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but like players like him, just players, like I don't know how, if football does a great job of analyzing those skills. I think they just look at the show horses. If you look like a horse,
Right. They just look at the measurables.
yeah, they just look at the things that really probably doesn't even matter.
From
And
our-
that's why people can slip into the 5th round, 3rd round, 4th round because they're not really evaluating like they should.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, sitting here on the outside looking in, I'll call foul on all the overanalyzation, all these draft shows, all these insane reports about all these guys. And also, if you pay attention to mock draft, you're a fucking idiot, okay? Because these mock draft experts get 4 or 5 out of the 30 correct. So if you put any stock and look at these
guessing.
things religiously, you're wasting your goddamn time.
Like you said, Barkley is the best player in the draft.
Him or Quentin Nelson.
Bradley Chubb, you can make an
You
argument.
can make an argument, yeah.
And all those arguments go in the top 10, top 5.
Top.
Chubb and Saquon Barkley would definitely be top 5, yes.
Yeah. Maybe Quentin Nelson too. So
Because, there's been NBA stuff where he says, okay, this is the best player in the draft, and he goes 7th.
yeah, right.
Unless you're drafting for a position, then I understand it. But I asked the general manager this once. I said, this is when they were at the height of their career. I said, if you had Kobe and you have the number 1 pick,
Yeah.
and Tracy McGrady is there, do you pick him? He said, no. I said, excuse me? No, I already have Kobe. But he's the best player.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you pick him? Because I already have that position. I said, no, you don't have that position. One can play 2, great players like that, they can play together.
Yeah.
But you would not pick him because you already have his position.
Right. So you're saying some general managers are going to overthink things tonight?
It's just overthink. Like it's just grab the best player. If you got 52 fucking centers, you got 52 fucking centers. Okay.
That makes sense.
That's a problem.
They might can't get the ball up the court, but for sure they're gonna beat your ass up down low.
One thing we can count on, his Jets are going to somehow screw it up tonight.
They're gonna mess it up.
We're here for it.
I'm completely here for the clown show to continue.
Listen, as we wrap things up on latest edition of Out of Bounds, of course, we'll see you all next week. Be sure to torment him on Twitter and ridicule him, whatever the Jets pick tonight.
I
Do
mean,
Be sure to
gonna
do it.
happen, yeah.
For Adam Caparell, Mr. Gilbert Arenas. What you look at? Mr. Gilbert Arenas, I'm Pierce
Do you have
Simpson.
dollar signs in your ear?
Nah, they gold nuggets.
Did he say gold nuggets?
Say gold nuggets.
Nuggets is like thick.
Yeah,
That is flat. You ironed that.
that-
He put that straight in the quarter machine. Yo.
No, what's funny,
I'm about to kill him with these.
I've had these since 2010.
He like twist. Yeah, I'm about to kill him with these, boy. Yeah, just say go get in the water on him.
I didn't even notice that he had the gold in tonight.
Yeah, I got
It just shining. I'm like,
shining. You know what I'm saying? I hear.
You usually got the diamonds in there.